From this it must further be shown that every agent acts for the sake of good. For from this it is clear that every agent acts for the sake of an end, because every agent tends to something determined. Now that to which the agent tends in a determined manner must be suitable to him, for he would not tend towards him except because of some suitability to him. Now that which is suitable to anyone is good for him. Therefore every agent acts for the sake of good. In addition, it is the end in which rests the appetite of the agent or mover, and of that which is moved. Now this is of the nature of good, that it may end appetite, for it is good that all things desire. Therefore every action and movement is for the sake of good. Still, every action and movement seems to be ordered to existence in some way, either to be preserved according to the species or the individual, or to be acquired anew. But this very thing which is to be is good, and therefore all things desire to be. Therefore every action and movement is for the sake of good. Further, every action and movement is for the sake of some fulfillment. For if the action itself is the end, it is clear that it is the second perfection of the agent. But if the action is the transformation of external matter, it is clear that the mover intends to introduce some perfection in the thing moved, into which also tends the mobile, if it is a natural movement. And this we say is good, which is to be perfect. Therefore every action and movement is for the sake of good. Again, every agent acts according to what he actually is, but in acting he tends to be similar in himself. Therefore he tends to some act, but every act has a reason for good. For evil is not found except in a power deficient from an act. Therefore every action is for the sake of good. Still, he who acts through the intellect acts for the sake of the end, as if he determines the end for himself. But the actor through nature, although he acts for the sake of the end, as has been proven, does not determine the end for himself, since he does not know the nature of the end, but is moved to an end determined for him by another. But the agent, by means of the understanding, does not determine its end for itself except under the reason of good. For the intelligible does not move except under the reason of good, which is the object of the will. Therefore, an agent by nature is not moved, nor does he act for the sake of any end except according to what is good. When an agent is by nature, the end is determined by some desire. Therefore, every agent acts for the sake of good. Again, it is of the same reason to shun evil and to desire good, just as it is of the same reason to be moved from below and to be moved upwards. But all things are found to flee from evil, for agents through the understanding flee from something by this reason, because they apprehend it as evil. But all natural agents, insofar as they have virtue, resist corruption, which is the evil of each. Therefore they do everything for the sake of good. Still, that which results from the action of some agent apart from his intention is said to happen by chance or fortune. Now we see that in the works of nature, something happens either always or more frequently that is better, just as in plants, the leaves are arranged in such a way as to protect the fruits, and the parts of the animals are arranged in such a way that the animal can be saved. If therefore this happens apart from the intention of the natural agent, this will be by accident or luck. But this is impossible, for those things which happen always or frequently are not accidental or fortuitous, but those which happen in fewer numbers. Naturally, then, the agent aims at what is best, and it is much more evident that he acts through the understanding. Every agent, therefore, intends the good in his action. Again, everything that is moved is brought to a limit of motion by the mover and the agent. It is therefore necessary that the mover and the movement tend to the same thing. Now that which is moved, when it is in power, tends to act, and thus to perfection and good. For by motion it proceeds from power to act. Therefore both the mover and the doer always intend good in moving and doing. Hence it is that the philosophers defining good have said, good is what all things desire. And Dionysius, chapter 4, concerning the divine names, says that all things desire the good and the best.